wearing my Hogwarts shirt, so you know it's gonna be serious. So I love a lot of stories, but the top 2 stories I've engaged with have to be Star Wars and Harry Potter. With Harry Potter probably being the stronger of the 2, if I had to pick. And so I was very excited when I heard about a new Harry Potter book. But the more I heard about it, the more I was hesitant to read it, and the more I was, frankly, uninterested in the book. Though, obviously, I was still gonna read it. I didn't pre-order it. I didn't go to a midnight release. I didn't do any of that stuff. Because, well, first of all, I was busy. Second of all, I didn't want to hype it more than it deserved. But I was at Target today, and I picked up a copy. And by today, I mean Friday. I'm filming this Friday. You won't see it until Monday at the earliest, because scheduling and routines. But it's Friday when I'm filming this, so I picked it up on Friday. It's currently 7:06 on Friday, and I'm done with this book. So we're gonna review it. And that brings me to my first point. Reading time. This is not a particularly difficult book. It's a script, not prose. It's not prose. And so it takes me less time to read a script than prose. But this is still a very quick read. I started reading it in Target at I think 4:30. And at 7:06 when I started filming, I'm done with it. And I, wasn't just skimming, I, read it. So from a technical standpoint, you're not buying a lot of engagement time. I mean, unless you reread it, which I don't know if it's really worth rereading. At least not as much as the other Harry Potter books. Now please contrast this 2.5-hour read with when I read Order of the Phoenix in 48 hours. So there's that. I also want to talk about the fact that I don't like this as a script. I would much more appreciate it as a book, I think. That being said, I would much more appreciate seeing this on stage than reading it in a book. So I understand why it's a script. But the fact that it's a script brings me to looking at the title, where it says, based on an original new story by J.K. Rowling. A new play by Jack Thorne. This is not J.K. Rowling's work. This is, at its heart, fanfiction. fiction. It's just glorified fan fiction. And, like, I'm not mad about that. I'm just mad that this is the fan fiction that got published and turned into a stage production. Though it does make sure to say that this is the first, authorized version. Or the first Harry Potter story to be officially presented on stage. Shout out to a Harry Potter musical, a Harry Potter sequel, and a Harry Potter senior year. But now we're going to stop talking about this book in abstractions and start talking about plot points. So if you haven't picked up your copy yet, or haven't downloaded a PDF file illegally, or just don't want to hear me talk about plot points, click off. If you have done those things, or you don't care and wanted to spoil it for yourself like I did, keep watching. So first we gotta talk about the trolley lady, cause what the fuck? Like, what was that? Excuse me? Pumpkin pastries are grenades? She is some weird type of animagus thing? Like, what the fuck? I'm not down for that. That's just really weird. Really weird. And there's a lot of really weird stuff in here. The time travel is a bit weird. I feel like that'd be easier on stage, but some of these stage directions are, like, impossible for me to conceptualize. Like, Voldemort's hand slowly turns back into Harry Potter's. Like, how are you gonna pull that off on stage? I don't know. Moving staircases, how are you gonna pull that off on stage? I wanna know what the budget for this was, because, like, there's a lot of stuff happening on stage. I think the thing most people have talked about is the relationship between Scorpius and Albus, which was totally gay baiting, or queer baiting, whatever it's called. Totally queer baiting. They were supposed to get together. You could tell in the text they wanted to get together. And then one of them, I think Albus, asks out Rose. I don't even know. I don't even care. Yep, Scorpius asks out Rose, because that's a thing. I think, oh yeah, if Albus would have asked out his cousin, that's a little weird. That would be a little worse. But Scorpius asks out Rose, like, no thank you. No thank you. I get that it's like second generation Hermione shipping, but no thank you. It did not seem as unexpected as a lot of other people talked about it, because he did talk a bit about Rose in the beginning, or in the middle, or whatever. Delphi is really creepy, and I feel like the fact that everyone, or that Ron would have been down with Scorpius, or not Scorpius, Albus, just kind of dating someone that old is terrifying, because we talk all the time about how young girls are preyed upon by older men, but young boys are preyed upon by older women and older men. So, like, watch out for yourselves. Teach people to watch out. Nobody should really be engaging in a relationship with someone who's old enough to be their teacher. That's just what I'm saying. But yeah. Total queer baiting. The time travel is a mess. I don't understand. Also, Voldemort Day. What the fuck? And did J.K. Rowling call, Pokemon Go, or what, for Voldemort and Valor? Clearly she doesn't think Mystic should be, leading right now. I really just want to talk about the way Ron is treated in this book, though, because Ron often gets the short end of the stick in the Harry Potter franchise. And this is because in the movies he was just portrayed as a slob who's obsessed with food and is incompetent, and that translates here. Like, there's this pivotal, vital scene where his child by proxy of Harry, Ginny's child, and Draco's child being in danger, is in danger. And he's like, LOL, couldn't figure out which fireplace to get off of on the flu powder thing. So I ended up in the kitchen. That's why I have this greasy napkin, because I clearly stopped to eat. And he's just always the butt of these jokes. And it's like, no, Ron is Harry's best friend, and he's a vital part of the series. And I am number one in the Ron Weasley defense squad. Just kidding. I'm like number 5. But yeah, that's a thing. Also, everyone still is down with what Snape did, his bad behavior, like, no thanks. Rowling does make Dumbledore apologize for his behavior towards Harry, which is super good, I think. Or I don't know if it was Rowling or Thorne or somebody else. For all I know, it was neither of them. But everyone really wants to know how I'm going to view this book from here on out. Also, I don't really understand what's up with the cover. Like, is that supposed to be a time turner? Or an owl? Or a snitch? Or yes? All of those? Like, I think that's Albus. Because it looks like a 9-year-old Harry Potter, so I guess that's Albus. I don't know what this is, though. Anyway. This is how I'm going to consider it. Fanfiction. Officially sanctioned fanfiction. It will go on the shelf with my Harry Potter books. It will stand next to them. If, by some stroke of good fortune, I go to something where J.K. Rowling is doing signings, I will take my 7 Harry Potter books. I might even take the casual vacancy. I will not take this one. It's just not worth my time to get her to sign it, because I don't even know how much of it she wrote. I disregard everything it says. And frankly, I disregard a lot of what J.K. Rowling says outside of the 7 books. Anyway, I am going to do my best to get tickets to see this. Hamilton's number 1, and then I'm gonna go haul ass to see this. Because I still think it's worth it. And I don't know. Does this make me nervous for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them? A little bit, but J.K. Rowling actually wrote that script. So there's that. Anyway, that's the vast majority of my thoughts on Cedric the Death Eater! How could I forget? Okay, so Cedric ends up killing Neville Longbottom in this alternate time universe, and that's his Death Eater moment of glory. And, like, how can you do that to Cedric? How can you disrespect him so? He's humiliated in the Triwizard Tournament, so he becomes a Death Eater? No, that's not who Cedric is. His nature as a Hufflepuff is to be kind and helping and loyal and loving. And even if he was humiliated to an extreme degree, that doesn't change his fundamental nature. He's not going to disavow every single person at Hogwarts and join the dark side just because someone puffed him up like a balloon. Like, that's just not gonna happen. End of sentence. End of discussion. Like, that's not who Cedric is. A lot of the female characters just really seemed identical also. None of them really seemed like their book selves, and they all just seemed like carbon copies of each other, and they didn't really have much personality. And then there were only really 2 main ones. Ginny and Hermione. Because Astoria, Draco's wife, is dead. For some reason, Luna's not present. And all the other women are really minor characters, which kind of sucks, especially when you consider how big of a role Hermione had in the books, and how big of a role Rose could have had. I understand this is a story about Albus and Scorpius, but You could have thrown Rose in there too. And also, James isn't really present for a lot of the book. He's just a mean older brother, which, you know, I guess that's fine. But he's just a mean older brother. I'm kind of glad he's not there, because I'm really into all this Scorpius thing. And I'm shipping that harder than I ever have before. So, the book failed. Goodbye. Yeah. Surprising. TLDR, or TLDW, too long didn't watch. Not long at all. Not difficult. Rather disappointing. Glorified fan fiction. Disrespects the characters. Pretty much all of them. Also, because Harry is so OOC sometimes, out of character. Disrespects all the characters. Still want to see it. Yeah, and I'm glad I spent my money on it. Anyway, now you might not have to. I hope you have a great day.